Hello, travel biz owner. Welcome to my corner of the travel industry, the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. If you're ready to have fun, be inspired, get clarity, and take action in your travel business, then you're in the right place. Let's jump in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I have some really big news to share with you. While not completely ready, Prep for Wave Week is officially open for registration. Woo! So welcome back to this episode. I know we just kind of started with a huge bang, but I wanted to get that out of the way. Now, again, not everything's set up, and for those lifelong fans of Prep for Wave Week, because this is the 6th annual year, you can go ahead, and if you already know that you want to upgrade to Study Hall Pass or upgrade to Plan Your Year, all those details are ready for you on the sales page, as well as most, but not all of the speakers yet. So I do just want to give you a heads up, but if you have attended a Prep for Wave Week before, you know that this is kind of like the event of the year. I've been talking about LinkedIn, how I feel like I've been Santa Claus, kind of like putting the finishing touches, and I really wanted to make sure that everything was set for when we came out with the big announcement today. Unfortunately, life and events life, and that just didn't happen. So, but we've got most of the details, and I am, every year, I'm really excited for the lineup, but we have another just really great lineup this year. So before I get into that, some of you might be like, Rita, I just found your podcast. I have no idea what's going on here. So, hello. I am the host of not only the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast, but also a virtual event. It's a 4-day virtual event happening this year from September 21st through 24th. So that is one of the biggest changes compared to the previous years, where Prep for Wave Week was always a 5-day event. I was getting some feelers just from what everybody was saying on the Friday last year that 5 days burns you out just a little bit. So we're cutting it down to 4 days. But this event is really to help you start getting in the mindset of wave season, and a new year is right around the corner. I want to make sure that you have that whole last fourth quarter of the year to start little by little, starting to implement your plan for the new year. That's really what the purpose is. Now, it is inspired by wave season. If you don't know what wave season is, just you wait. It is typically, not always, it is typically the first quarter of the year. And it's typically because everybody has just spent the holidays with all their family, friends, their loved ones, and they've started talking and dreaming about their wishes and their plans for the upcoming year and the future couple of years. And of course, travel becomes a part of that. So there's a lot of people who are ready to book travel. Now, I know a lot of people think it's just cruises. It is not just cruises. It is all sorts of travel that gets booked at the very beginning of the year. Now, I also want to say, because I had mentioned it's not always the first quarter, typically for most people, for the first quarter tends to be a busier quarter than others. Now, I have heard from plenty of people that say that is not the case for them as well. So while I would say maybe 70-80% that is the case, there are some people that they actually get a wave season during summer or during fall season, or maybe you, if you do have a wave season in quarter one, you might get a little secondary wave season as the kiddos start heading back to school. So if your wave season doesn't start at the beginning of the year, this is still going to be a really incredible training event for you, because you still need to prep for the new year. So you can't let that way back. And I want to make sure, the whole premise of this podcast is to help you become a better business owner. And the way that we do that is through a lot of preparation. And so, especially like thinking about today's topic of the episode, I'm going to be going into like many of us like didn't get into this industry like thinking like I want to be a business owner. You just love travel and you wanted to sell travel. And so we have to have like put that business owner hat on when it comes to like future planning and working smarter, not harder when it comes to the new year, especially like if you are wanting different results within your business. So each day of prep for Wave Week is themed to some operation within your business. So the first one I always like to have is essentials. So like things that you kind of need to know or refresh every single year. And so on Essentials Day, just to give you a little preview of everything, we have one of my like favorite people that I've been learning from for the maybe like a year or two at least now. I joined her membership program. It is all about like subconscious rewiring. So it's very mindset driven and like smashing limiting beliefs. Julie Costa is going to be with us for that. Then fan favorite Stephanie Cannon, a highly requested topic was taxes for travel advisors. So that's on Essentials Day. And then coincidentally, like normally with some of my speakers, like we have them on 1 year, off 1 year, on 1 year, off 1 year. Tom Carpenter is also coming back this year. He is also going to be on an upcoming podcast episode, so stay tuned to that. He is going to be talking about the latest in frauds and scams, because there's always something new happening there, and he is very passionate about this. Now, also know, like, he is not, unless, like, you've already hired him, he's not your attorney, so he can't give, like, specific information about things unless he's your attorney. So, also note that. But Tom is also, like, a really great fan favorite. Day 2 is all about operations. So, like, client experience, working with customers, systems, processes, and technology. So we have Dee Beck, who we've been like having this really great relationship and collaboration over this past couple of years. She is a travel advisor who teaches travel advisors about one of her favorite free tools that you're going to need to survive. Not only like just to operate your business, but especially as you're gearing up and prepping for wave season. Then we have Dana Zifisak, who is from Guts, Grit, Goals, also a travel advisor and also a mentor within the industry. She does really great when it comes to like special dietary needs. So this was a requested topic about like accessibility and helping guests and clients with special needs. So we're specifically talking about understanding travelers with special dietary needs and how to help them. And then last but not least, on Operations Day, which is day 2, we have Erin. Is it Erin Erdos? I think it's Erin Erdos of Travel Biz Boss. Another highly requested topic, creating a client process that is repeatable and scalable. And we have talked extensively about kind of this topic and like cliff notes about what she's going to talk about. It is going to be packed. And like I say that about Erin's session, but most/all of these sessions are going to be chock full. Then we head on over to day 3, which is Marketing Day. So I just have 2 of our 3 speakers confirmed. So hold please for the 3rd speaker. But the first speaker we have is Kyla Daisy of the Social Passport. Actually, the first 2 speakers you heard recently on the podcast on our social media episode. So Kyla is going to be teaching on editing for social media. This was another highly requested topic from your survey and your feedback form last year for prep for Wave Week. So if editing on social media is kind of like a thorn in your side, she's going to give you a couple tips to make it a little bit easier for you. Then we have Crystal Straub, and she is going to be talking about the email marketing side. So really helping you to re-engage your email list before wave season starts, because that's also part of like why I have prep for Wave Week at the end of September, so that some of these things you can start implementing now and also start warming up your clients or potential leads now, so that you do have a really nice first quarter of the year. And then that 3rd speaker, again, TBD. On that day, we do have a confirmed study hall co-host. The other days, again, are still pending, but Kristen Richards from Inflow Design Co. is coming back again. So if you upgrade to the study hall pass, you not only get access to the daily study hall live sessions, which are from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. They normally include like some other expert within the industry or some sort of leader within the industry. Kristen Richards, we're normally talking something about branding, design, websites, and we can also talk about the topics of the day. But she is always like such a fan favorite. We've also got a couple more things that are being added to the study hall pass this year. But let's move on to day 4 sales. That's actually the day that I will be speaking of, because social media editing was one of the requested topics. Another requested topic was my talk about reverse engineering your sales. So I'm going to revamp that a little bit. I'm going to do a new reverse engineering your sales for sales day. Then we have Michelle Woodson-Howell. She was actually on the first ever Prep for Wave Week, and she is a travel advisor, MH Signature Journeys. She is a pro when it comes to group travel, specifically like group cruise travel and finding group leaders. She does a lot of like joint venture partnerships. So if this is up your speed, which this was a requested topic, you're going to want to tune into her. And then last but not least, in an age of AI, I was like, I need to get a copywriter to talk about copy. And then not only that, but she talks about copywriting that helps specifically with sales, so conversion copy. Her name is Samantha, or Sam for short, Burmeister. I was first kind of like not even officially recommended by Kate of Travel Pro Theory. I just saw her like recommend Sam in a post that I saw on Threads. And then I tried out some of Sam's products, digital products that she has, and I was like, wow, she knows what she's doing. Her company is called Nomad Copy, and I am really excited to have that conversation with her, that we are going to get all into the nitty-gritty of copywriting that is going to help you sell more trips and groups for your business. So I know we have talked a lot about Prep for Wave Week. I'm going to keep some of those other details to myself until next week so that we can get started into the meat of today's episodes. But you can always head on over to the sales page, prepforwaveweek.com. Sign up. There is a free pass. There is a study hall pass, which is super loaded this year. And then you can also upgrade to get the study hall pass and your ticket to my annual Plan Your Year workshop, which we will talk about that in the next couple of weeks too. So let's dive in now into why your social media really isn't selling. And this was actually inspired by a workshop that I hosted this week called Client Call Out. So the whole purpose of Client Call Out was to call out your ideal client and start writing some posts that revolve around them and that call them out in there. Something that I noticed that was happening within Client Call Out, though, is not only like there were some killer hooks and some killer captions that were created, because I also created like a really great GPT to help the advisors out with this. So I'm also like raving that I created like a really neat tool for that. I've heard like just really great reviews about that tool in itself. So they were able to create some like really great content from that. But something that came up was that some of the posts ended up being way more salesy than I had intended them to be. Because not every post is supposed to be a sales post on your social media. Like your social media posts are supposed to have like different themes to them, and it can't be every single post you're saying, and this is why you should work with me. And actually, I don't think like really any of your posts should be saying something towards that effect. You should be telling stories of why your process, why your travel process, why your travel value is beneficial to this potential client, that they should stay tuned and either keep following you, they can download your free guide, They can comment a word so that they can eventually book a call down the line. But we need to stop creating every post with the angle of selling to everybody, because if you have been doing that in your content and why your content isn't working, that's exactly why your content isn't working, because you're not opening up any sort of conversation. You are just like yelling at a billboard to your people, you should work with me, you should work with me. And somebody who has no clue about who you are and just like scrolls on their feed, finds your post on their feed, they're not automatically going to be like, oh my gosh, look at the stranger who loves travel. I should hire them and send $10,000 their way so that they can book my next trip. Does that sound a little cuckoo to you? Because that sounds a little cuckoo to me. I mean, that is like, I'd like to talk about the exception and the rule, and that would be like a really amazing exception. But the rule is that that's not really going to happen to you, at least in like everyday life. And so because this happened a lot, not only like with people who I'm mentoring, but also the advisors at Client Call Out, I just wanted to give like some helpful pointers, like when you are thinking about social media posts, what you should be really thinking about. Because again, like the first thing, like your first post, like your first couple of posts, like after this episode should not be like, oh my gosh, I love to travel. I'm a really great travel advisor. I know what I'm doing and you should book your trip with me. That person has I gave the reference of like a dating app. Like when you're on a dating app scrolling, that's kind of like when you're on Instagram scrolling. Like you're not automatically going to ask somebody to marry you. You're going to probably like heart their Instagram post. And if like this is you and this is the service provider that you want to work with, if they immediately like you liked one of their posts and they say, hey, we should work together, you are going to be turned off by that. I'm pretty sure. If this is a brand new person, which is what I'm trying to get from also, like there are different buying stages, and I'm like, if complete stranger, never heard of you, doesn't know what you do, doesn't know about any of your expertise or anything, if you ask them to make that booking up front, they're going to be like, what you talk about? Well, like who do you think you are? Because I don't know you, so why would I trust you with anything revolving around my trip? Which is why like there's kind of like 3 different types of content that I want to really talk about that you need to be posting on your social media, because each of them has like a different job, and you're going to be posting like different variations every single week. This was a question that I got, like how often should I post? And I am not a daily post person. I unfortunately have had to be, because I have been behind on some of my recent posts, because, I like to repost or repurpose the podcast content. So now that like I'm a little bit caught up on things, you're going to get a little bit less salesy of stuff that's happening on my own social media. But normally 3 to 5 posts a week, I think, is a really great cadence. And if you just wanted to do 3, I feel like that's totally fine, especially that I'm telling you there's 3 different types of posts that you want to be making. So especially like with these big money, high ticket decisions, like we need to ease on in here. So thinking about it, because I was like, why do we do this in the industry? Because I did it back like... Picture it, 2010, 2011, baby travel advisor, Rita. You're posting all sorts of things, and you're posting all sorts of like supplier graphics. I used to do this as well. And it's kind of like, again, you're like the paper boy on the corner, like read all about it. Look at all these things that I can do. But that's not how sales really works at all, or like how it works now. And I think about this. Episode 254, we talked about like how not to be sleazy in sales. If you are putting every post to sell, you have fallen into a little bit of that sleazy trap. And I say this, and I'm trying to be very nice about this, but that's part of like what the sleaze is, because it is that hard selling, that like not thinking about me and what my needs are, which makes you like I'm thinking about like the sleazy car salesman who like wants to sell you all the gizmos and gadgets, but they haven't even gotten to know what I need in a car, in a vehicle myself. They don't know like what my daily driving needs are and like why I'm going to use my vehicle as well. I'm hoping like some of these analogies are starting to relate to you, that you need to start thinking about like social media in a different way. Like we can't just be word vomiting all the things that we can do really well. There's three things that are like the biggest, there's three things that are like some of the biggest outcomes for your marketing. And that is that your clients have to be able to trust you. By getting to know you. Your clients need to also be able to trust themselves that they're making the right decision. And your clients need to be able to trust your process. And if you are only talking about selling a cruise or selling an expedition trip or whatever trip it might be, they don't know what your process is, so they can't put any they can't put any trust in that. They can't really trust themselves. Like if they were going to put faith in you, like it could go really well for them or it could go not so really great with them. And we know that there's also people who scam out people when it comes to travel. So a sales post doesn't like really build that trust that they need within themselves. And then they might build like a little bit of trust knowing that you sell X supplier, that you sell X type of trips, but they don't really know anything else about you if all you're putting out there is sales posts. So you can see there's some layers that are missing when you're just doing those posts. There's not really any real driver. There's like no motivation to like keep learning more or even to like want to follow you on social media. So we have to do it a little bit differently. And I think like a lot of why we push sales a lot on social media is because there's that scarcity. Like I'm falling behind, like I need to like push out more sales because if I push out more sales posts, I'm going to sell more. That is not the case. So what we need to like start moving towards is like really social media is a place where you are building relationships. So if you are not able to like do in-person networking, which highly big fan of, you need to figure out how you can network with people on social media, which is like following other people, other accounts and like interacting with their accounts online. But how can you also be like somebody that people want to be interacting with online and wanting to become a champion of online in your social media post? So when it comes to like just selling, you have kind of skip that trust building process. And that's kind of what I'm talking about here, is that we have to start building up the trust. And so if you're doing a post like, oh my gosh, all the moms that have been having 52 tabs trying to plan their next trip, finally find my account, or dear algorithm, like any one of those like type of differentials where you're doing kind of like a wide casting of the net to get people to like tune into you. You can't, like, the call to action for that type of post is not go to my link in bio and fill out my inquiry form. The mom, or insert your ideal client in here, just found your account. Yes, they are trying to figure out planning a trip, but what they need to be doing is not booking an inquiry just yet, because they still do not have any trust in you yet. They just found your account. They need to start like binging the rest of the social media posts that you have in your account, so some sort of trust can start building up in there, and then they fill out your inquiry form. This is also why I say like different posts have to have different outcomes from it, because when they do start like binging your posts, you're not asking for the sale every time, but they can see like, oh, they have a free guide here. Oh my gosh, they're so funny here. Oh my gosh, that's the motivation that I needed here. Like there's lots of different things that you need to layer into your post so that there's a lot of variety so that people can start building up that trust with you, that trust with themselves, and then also the trust in your own travel process. So I'm going to also defer to episode 240 if you haven't listened to that, the marketing matrix, because that's kind of what's formulating the 3 different post jobs that I'm seeing here. The first post job is meet. So this is the content to like really grow eyeballs on your account. This is to help like get new people, or you to get in front of new people to discover you on social media. The meet content where you're like, hello, this is who I'm about. There's a really hot trend right now of you should follow or unfollow me for all these reasons. It's actually a post that I have been working on myself. It just hasn't gone up because I've been so behind on other things. But those are the types of posts that really are going to help people to get to know you. Again, what do you like? What do you dislike? Do I have something in common with that? Oh, I think I have a lot of stuff that's in common with them. I should definitely follow and see what this travel advisor is all about. You want to start piquing their interest and piquing their curiosity. It's really the first thing that's kind of building that flicker of like, who is this person that I've never met before on the internet? And like the best call to action for those types of posts, not necessarily every type of meet post, because again, like different posts have different jobs. And some of your posts may not even like need a call to action at all. Some posts, like people are just going to automatically interact with that. Like, especially with the whole follow, unfollow post. Like if there's something that they relate to, they're like, they're going to comment and be like, oh my gosh, this is me too. I love all of this stuff, or I hate this stuff, or whatever it might be. The best call to action really is going to be a follow. This is not going to be a sales type of post when it comes to this meet type of content where you're allowing people to get to know a little bit of who you are, your insides, and what you can do for them as a travel advisor too. Connect is the second job. This is really like where you're nurturing, and think about that as kind of like the funnel. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to follow you, or there might be a lot more people that follow you than really connect with you. I know for me, like there's, I think 1,600 people that are following me on social media. I don't know all of them. I've interacted maybe with 10%. I'm not sure. But this is why you need to have connection type posts so that they can get further and further closer to being a paid client of yours, or a really great referral partner too. So the job of a connect post is to nurture both brand new folks who like have never known about you. They probably just saw one of your really great meeting posts and just want to get to know you a little bit more. And like, what types of travel do you sell? Like, you're getting a little bit deeper. It's more tactile. It's more practical when you're going down the different types of posts. This is also what I would call like the reconnect. So if they have been in your atmosphere for a little bit, you want to reconnect with them here as well. So it's very similar type of content that you're going to find here. I would say a really great call to action when it comes to this connecting type of content is your lead magnet. So like, comment word and I'll send you this free guide, or I'll send you this GPT, or I'll send you whatever it is that you have created as your lead magnet, this quiz so that you can find out what your travel style is, whatever it might be. This is where they start trusting you a little bit more. You can also like start sharing a little bit about what your process is, because the third type of post, that's the selling type of post. It is the convert type of post. Its job is to sell, because you do need to sell, but you can't be selling in every single post that you're making online. The call to action for this would be comment this word and I'll send you the link for my inquiry form. Also, when I'm thinking about like the call to action here, when it comes to selling and also when it comes to connecting, You want to make it as easy as possible for the other person. So if you don't have like a ManyChat automation tool, which is very economical, only like $15 a month, highly recommend. I mean, they do also have a free plan. So if you're using like the same words over and over again, you can do that. But it's not only like beneficial for you to do a call to action that's like comment word for this and you'll set up the automation. This also helps with your engagement because you can like their comment, you can like the comment your bot just posted up, and then you can start a conversation with people in the direct messages after they've been sent whatever link it is that you have sent to them. So it like has a double feature being able to do that. I really don't like the DM me to learn more or DM me for my link or DM me to discuss. Like, I think DM as a call to action really only works in stories right now when I'm specifically talking about Instagram. And that's because the people who are viewing your stories are even more intimate than the people that are viewing your feed. And it could be the same people that are viewing both, but there's something about stories that's a little bit more like they're taking the time out. Like myself, I would rather go through stories and get to know you that way than go through a lot of different posts. Even though like if I'm new to you, you're new to me, like I'm gonna do some internet sleuthing too to see like, okay, what are you and your business all about? I also wouldn't say like go to my link in bio. I guess technically you could say that, but I really feel like if you can't afford like another membership or another subscription to like something like ManyChat, you can do what I did for a very long time. And if you do the comment word, like you just send them the link once you see that they've sent it to you. That's not going to work in the long run once you start getting busier, though. It is going to be so much easier to set up an automation, and like $15 a month to get a like $10,000 client or even like $1,000 client is well worth, like it's a subscription that is well worth it. To be able to convert somebody on social media that way. So these conversion type of posts, this is where you're allowed to start asking for the sale because you've kind of earned it doing the other two posts before, where they've gotten to know you a little bit, they've gotten to know your process a little bit, the types of travel that you sell. Now they're going to be able to get to know some of your services. So if you're trying to sell out a group, if you want more people like going to Hawaii, that's kind of what your conversion posts are. So those meet posts are about you, but about you to be able to connect with your audience. This is not necessarily where you're like, and this is why I planned amazing trips. That does not put your audience first, because that's something else that I've been noticing a lot, is that you're trying to like say like, look, these are all the great things. Like, I'm a really great travel advisor. These are all the reasons why. Your content shouldn't be saying that directly. It should be saying that indirectly. And that's where like storytelling starts to come in, because you have your hook that's captured them. Now you have to like almost put some justification for why that hook makes sense, especially if you're doing like something contrarian, where you would say something to the effect of like, I would never book a balcony cabin for these types of cruises, which is really weird because I love balcony cabins. But maybe you have like a real true justification that is going to get so many more eyeballs. And like if you are doing like a contrarian post like that, contrarian meaning like your viewpoint is not the viewpoint of the norm of the many, that is going to not only like get new eyeballs, but that's going to start building some trust, because especially like when your caption is doing a lot of connecting through storytelling to justify what you just said in your hook, people are going to be like, they're going to start shifting their mindset about said thing that you just mentioned. And that's really what I am finding is like very effective. If there's some sort of like mindset shift that happens within the posts themselves, you are taking them on some sort of journey, whether like you're painting the trip to them, whether you are painting like why you believe this thing is true. Even if you're just sharing like a story of your youth that kind of like pertains to a meeting type of post, there has to be like some storytelling embedded and not just telling them why you are amazing. Because again, like if you were looking at somebody's post who was doing the same thing and just tooting their own horn, you wouldn't want to be following them, would you? Me personally get very suspect when I see somebody being like, I'm the best, I did all of this, and I will do it again, and I can help you do it, and you can do that. Like, that feels very sleazy to me in my opinion. All right, so I'm just looking over my notes here. So hopefully this is kind of like showing you a couple different posts and like giving you a couple of different ideas of posts that you need to be having on your social media. And thinking about, okay, I just did a sales post. Now I need to do a meet post. What can I do a meet about? And it doesn't always have to be travel. This is where like that client identity comes into place because like I mentioned in the workshop, like I've mentioned here on the podcast, the identity that you're calling out is probably some version of you, which means you have some sort of relatability to the ideal client that you want to have. And whether this is like a funny ha-ha, whether this like you're getting really serious, maybe like something recently changed your life, like being able to share some of that and have vulnerability in social media is also a huge piece for connecting with people. Trust is not immediately earned. It is definitely something that can come into layers. And especially for those more skeptical ones, like sometimes myself, it takes time for us to build that relationship. So it's going to take a little bit. Like I remember even like the art studio that I love going to. I don't know how long I stalked their social media account before like I actually went in and did like an art piece there. And now I'm there like every couple of months, like working on something. So, if you are also a skeptic, you've got to think about that from like your client's viewpoint, because maybe you're not a skeptic and maybe you're very trusting of other people. Not everybody is like that. So you do kind of have, just like there's different marketing tactics that you need to be doing to like meet people, aka networking, connecting with people, social media posts, email marketing, converting people, sending them over to your inquiry form or sending them to the group trip booking. There's different things that have to be done for each of those. Same thing with social media. At each different of these level, meet, connect, and convert, you have to do different types of posts because you just don't know where people are also in their buyer's journey. And being able to like create a swirl of these types of posts is just going to be even more beneficial for your social media feed and for the long-term health of your social media. So let me know if you have any questions. If you want to keep this conversation going, just DM me. No, I mean, you can DM me. Email me. There's also a link that you can send Rita your thoughts through the podcast in the show description. So if you have any thoughts, if you need some concrete help or advice, just reach out and I'm happy to point you in the right direction there. So that concludes this episode. I cannot wait to see like some of your newish social media posts as you're revamping kind of your strategy with some of these tips here. And then I also can't wait to see you at Prep for Wave Week. So talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. Remember to check out the show notes for all relevant links and resources from today's show. See you next time.